Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Crypto Philanthropy, where we highlight the top giving news, stories, and the power of crypto for good. Nick Mikhalevsky, Senior Sales Manager here at the Giving Block. And today, flying solo, my illustrious co host is off doing some great things. So it's just me today, but really excited because we have another special guest and could be more excited about this one. So, without further ado, please welcome to the podcasting stage, Jeremy Snyder, Vice President from Mercy Corps. Jeremy, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so Jeremy, I mean, you guys have been doing a lot of great things at Mercy Corps, and you have a really kind of like unique role, in the organization. But before we kind of get to what the organization's been doing around crypto, I would love to kind of hear, what was your personal story and how'd you kind of get involved, in the crypto sort of Web3 space?
Yeah, I was pretty early in the just general curiosity. I think I started buying Bitcoin in late 2013 or so. Didn't hold. I was buying and using, so I'm not one of those illustrious early Bitcoin billionaires. But I've always been curious about just the ability of this technology, the blockchain, what the digital ledger can do, and the decentralization of it. So I've been around it for quite a while, and over the years I've gotten more and more involved. And I think really this 2013 to 2017 was just really toying around, seeing what was out there in that part of the world, that part of the internet. And then probably 2017 really started to take a more serious, like, all right, there's some there here, and there's a potential for this to really be a significant part of the future. That's about the time in my own life where I started. My partner and I were having kids, and I was like, this might seems like a smart way to start putting something aside for the next generation, and started long term investing in crypto in 2017, and started my children's college funds and kind of their long term plans, which are almost entirely in crypto right now. Um, and so then, yeah, it was there, and then 2020 kind of jumped into the NFT game and was there for the early stages of that, and haven't left.
That's great. That's amazing. You're really on I think the cutting edge here. Probably one of the guests that we've had on that really has gone deep into the crypto space. That's phenomenal. And I guess as a follow on to that, where did the kind of the lines between the crypto and the philanthropy space start to intersect for you?
Yeah, that's I think where it got really exciting for me. I've been at Mercy Corps for a long time, been here for 15 years, and what Mercy Corps does, probably like our deepest work, is in economic development using cash assistance. And so many places we work, we're working in cash distributions, and seeing in places like East Africa, certain parts of Latin America, where there's been digital currencies just flying for decades. And traveling to my first time in Kenya, I think it was 2014, and watching people pay for stuff on M-Pesa on their cell phone, I was like, oh my god, like, how is this even possible? And realizing, like, the rest of the world was there, and there's a new technology that's going to make it absolutely game changing. So when we started talking about, like, what does this mean for our work, one of the things that became really important to me is that we work with so many unbanked communities and unbanked families, and knowing that the system was built to not care about those, but the bottom billion, really, it was really built for the wealthy. And so we wanted to make sure that as new technologies, blockchain was being introduced into emerging markets and developing markets, that it was really happening, and the poorest of the poor had a voice at the table, that their stories, that their use cases were being taken into consideration. And so, while as an organization we've always been agnostic to the actual technology, to the modality, the importance of it in those communities, and making sure that if a new system is going to be introduced, that it works for those people, the people that we care most about, has been critical. And that's kind of been our driving lens the whole time.
Yeah, amazing. And as this program has kind of evolved, or maybe I guess I should ask, how has it evolved, like at Mercy Corps, and what are some of the kinds of things that you're seeing, in the crypto ecosystem as it relates to the work you're doing, and some
Yeah,
of the charitable impact you guys have been able to drive?
it's evolving so rapidly. And I was just talking with somebody the other day about this. One of our first, like, we didn't start fundraising until in crypto until 2021. Um, and it was all we were trying to be the recipient of a DeFi platform that 10% of the staking rewards would go to charities. And it took us, and then there was going to be an NFT auction and stuff. It took us probably 4 months of due diligence and going through legal just to get the okay to accept an NFT. Um, and I just remember like just countless days being like, oh, it's like any other asset. Like we should be able to accept this. And now I think about it, like we have our venture arm, Mercy Corp Ventures, which is impact investment, is now raising its fourth Crypto for Good fund. It's we're just I think there's been, I don't know, 30 investments in Web3 companies and emerging markets. It's just so integrated with the work we do now that you don't think twice about it. And just seeing what everything with the blockchain, where everything goes from land rights to access to resources, it's become so normalized that it seems almost silly for us not to double down in the fundraising here, as there's so much new wealth, and the wealth that's been made in crypto is from people that have typically been left out of philanthropy. Philanthropy historically has been for wealthy, rich families that have generational wealth, and seeing an entire new demographic of people that now have an opportunity to participate in something making the world better is really exciting. And just seeing that normalized is, I think, says so much about where we are and where we are because of partners like the Giving Block who've just made this so easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that um we're always so surprised at you know the fact of how philanthropy is just such a baked in component to this kind of community and this ecosystem. So I think a lot of fundraisers have started to again reawaken to that fact. It's always it's always nice when you're in that crypto bull run and there's more of this that starts to bubble up. And I guess the kind of work that you guys are doing, like, would you say that I'm sure you spend your time working with all kinds of donors, but for the kind of work that you're doing specifically, are there things that you're doing with kind of those, for lack of a term, like regular everyday kind of like Americans that have crypto that want to, donate, to innovative organizations like yourself? Is it, are you starting to see more of those like partnerships with Web3 and, maybe at risking of making this question too long, sometimes we get those questions from nonprofits of like, am I getting donors that are like, have the hold these assets? Every once in a while, we hear about these like projects that sometimes reach out to us, sometimes out of the blue, sometimes through more formal channels. They're sort of trying to know where to kind of spend their time and how easy it is it to move through some of those communities. So yeah, I guess describe to us a little bit about like where you're seeing
Yeah.
those real innovative relationships.
So I would say, like, today our biggest relationships have been with the crypto companies. So Ripple and RippleWorks has been our biggest partner in this space, and Solana Foundation, Polygon, those have been our biggest partners. The reason I want to put that is because they helped reach out to their communities and their holders, and by them wanting to be part of building this ecosystem in the emerging markets in a global space, their communities are seeing Mercy Corps at the forefront of that, and that's bringing people to us, which is we've been really fortunate with. Um, I think one of the big challenges is we're still a U.S. based entity, which means our on ramp and off ramps of how we move funds from country to country is really challenging, and so by all means we're still a fiat based organization, and so even if we're working in crypto, we're usually still accepting, converting to fiat, and then purchasing crypto. And I think until we get to a point where we can truly keep funds on chain, and a donor has the ability to make a gift on chain and see that transaction all the way through, I think we're going to continue to have a little bit of reluctancy from the deep, crypto communities that understand the power of the technology and really what it's able to do, what the transparency is able to do. We're getting closer, and you're starting to see a few groups there. We're not quite there yet, but I think having some of the bigger partnerships we do gives us a different level of credibility that we are delivering innovation. We have these big corporate partners in the crypto space that want to see us succeed because they know we're doing things in a way that they're willing to put their name and their brand behind.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess looking towards, 2025, are there some things that are on the horizon that, to the extent that you're able to share that, you think are really exciting, either in the space or for the kind of work that you're doing at Mercy Corps in general?
Yeah, I mean, for the space, what I'm really excited about, I think, I don't know, it was probably about this time last year. Vitalik made a statement like when airdrop season started that he's just going to donate all his airdrops. And the last month, we've seen the big with Magic Eden and the Pengu this week. We've seen I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars come into the ecosystem just out of nowhere. And there seems to be a new level of willingness to be like, okay, like half of that is just going somewhere. I'm seeing more of that from the communities I'm in, the people I'm working with, and I think 2025 is going to be a big airdrop season in that regard. And with Abstract Chain really brewing up some fun things here, I think there's an opportunity for organizations that are willing to engage in that space to be significant recipients of some of that airdrop um, revenue funds. It's a little challenging though. I think there's still a lot of concerns around meme coins and the Ponzinomics of it. And with big institutions, there's always a little reluctancy to overstep into that space and what's our risk profile. But I think that's where the big opportunity is in the short term. And I'm seeing communities just being so excited about getting to do good with those funds that that's where I want to personally kind of dig in and build and grow more partnerships in 2020 in early 2025.
Yeah. We've always been, really impressed with how the communities rally around, whether it's around certain, types of responses to, international events or challenges, that are going on throughout the world. And the crypto communities have just been, a really great beacon of hope for, a lot of organizations and being able to forward, a lot of the great work that, thousands of charities are able to do. Certainly, it's a great feeling that we get and we get to see from the donor communities of folks saying, man, I wouldn't have been able to give, with this much impact, had I not had, involvement in the crypto space. So it's really cool to see, the amount of good that's being, powered by cryptocurrency. And I guess, are there any other, well, you've been in the space for a while, and maybe as a side question, going in a little bit of a different route, what are some of the places that you went to kind of get a little bit of like an education in some of these communities, or for those nonprofits that are kind of listening out there that might maybe have already been kind of sitting there scratching their heads thinking like, okay, well, I'm writing down Pengu, I'm writing down all these terms, like, well, what are some good places where people can go for some good like educational materials?
That's a tough one. I think, I mean, crypto. There's nothing better than crypto Twitter. Love or hate Twitter. That's where information passes in a way that's accessible. I mean, and Telegram's similar, but that's a little more gated. Um, I think it's really critical to have somebody on your staff, on your team that is fairly deep in this space. We were fortunate enough in 2022, we brought somebody onto our team that was really deep in the crypto world just to focus on community building and community engagement. And uh, between him and I, we were plugged into so many communities that I feel we had different level of access. I don't know without like those individual drivers, like how easy that is to learn, except to be willing to ask questions. The one thing I've learned so quickly in the crypto community and the NFT communities is people will have a conversation about anything. There's very few DMs that go unanswered. People love to share. We're all trying to figure this out together and do good together. And so be willing to ask questions, reach out to people, ask for 10 minutes of their time. Um, it's such an open community. And I think the nature of decentralizing the marketplaces, the environment, the ecosystem means that people have a different level of willingness to share. And so there's, and then obviously there's, I mean, you guys do a ton of informational talks. And if people aren't tuning into those, they're doing themselves a massive disservice. But really, there's not, I don't think there's a bulletproof solution. I don't know what the term is there. You got to dig in a little bit and be willing to engage with communities. Show up at places at Consensus at NFT NYC. Um, it's a relatively low level investments to show up and just get. You don't have to buy a table, buy a booth, and chill. You can just show up and meet people, build your community that way. Those are such warm, fun places to be at. And so we've been pretty intentional about being in those spaces. And it's not even our crypto people on the teams that are there. It is, who might be in the area, who might have a corporate partnership there. um but just being present, and all of a sudden, we've got so many people on our team that are like, I want to work in crypto, I want to do this, because just that little bit of exposure, and they just see how warm and embracing the communities are.
Yeah. Well, as we kind of round out the conversation, I mean, you mentioned Ripple already. For folks that maybe haven't heard, you guys have you made some news there, and I know as we're here in sort of the year end season, you guys announced kind of a pretty great collaboration with them. Could you give us just a few more details for
Yeah,
folks who haven't
absolutely.
heard?
Thanks for bringing that up. Like I said, Ripple's been one of our earliest and longest partners in this space, and helping us figure out how to leverage this technology in the places we work. And most recently, they donated $500,000 for a match. And so it is available in fiat or crypto, stock, however you might want. We are live with it. Really hoping to see that matched here before the end of the year. It's a great opportunity if you've been on the fence about donating crypto, if you're sitting on those new sweet meme coin money that you want to put to good. It doesn't have to be XRP, but XRP is booming right now. So if you've got those big XRP bags, it's a great way for those to be matched. Would really love to see that match met by the end of the year, and continue to show that crypto is a force for good. Um, Seeing companies like Ripple that have a bigger not just footprint, not just marketing, but like people see what they're doing, and seeing that match met by 10,000 people instead of a half a dozen people that make large gifts. Like, that's showing the power of decentralization, and so that's one of the things I'm really excited about, hoping to see kind of get swooped up here in the coming days as we hit the holiday season.
Yeah, fantastic. It was great. I mean, I hope that that match is met and exceeded. Um, but is it true too that maybe as a sort of like a last like kind of question here, um, for a lot of these communities too, it's just about them wanting to I don't want to say like they're like looking for a lot of like um necessarily like a co-branded promotion. Like a lot of these communities just, like the acknowledgement and just want to, give their communities a way to know that like there are some charitable avenues along with being part of this community too. So for some nonprofits out there that might think, geez, I don't know if I'm like capable of like putting together like a, co-branded or like co-sponsored kind of complicated relationship here. It's really not that complicated that it may seem, right?
Not at all. I mean, we've done partnerships with a number of communities, and it's almost no work. Like, they're not looking for big co-branded things. It feels very different than most of our corporate partnerships. Um, yeah, it's low lift. Just engage with the communities, give them updates on what their funds are doing, keep them informed, let them know that they're part of the story of building a better world, whatever your organization's doing, and that there's a not only an opportunity and a responsibility, but there's just a chance for all of us to be part of this. And crypto is such a good, exciting avenue for that.
I love it. Well, I guess to round us out then, Jeremy, I mean, if, maybe you can kind of, run us through sort of the points of contact. So if there's, someone who's seeing this from the nonprofit space, what are some ways that they could potentially, get in touch with you? If someone's a donor that, wants to, check out how they can make a donation to Mercy Corps and where, should people be going, for the match as well.
Yeah, thanks for that. Mercycorps.org, great place to start. I'm sure it's giving season. It'll drop you straight to a donate page. My LinkedIn, Twitter, you can reach out to me directly on those. My Twitter is Jeremy R. Snyder. LinkedIn as you see it. On mercycorps.org website, you can contact me. Happy to talk through any questions anyone might have. And yeah, I'm here. I'm easy to reach out to.
Fantastic. Well, we're wishing you all the best. You know, the Giving Block team's rooting for you guys, and we'll drop all of those links in the show notes. So if you're watching this when the episode drops, you'll have all of those links that Jeremy mentioned. So, man, I can't wait to see the stuff that you guys are doing. It's been phenomenal. We've loved working with the team, and here's to a successful end to 2024 and a great start to 2025. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me, Nick. Take care.